you can, or three-way streak. If it's a three-way streak, then you are going to make 3 quadrants on here like a T. But if it's a 4 quadrant, then you 1, 2, 3, 4 like that quadrant. I'm just going to show you here at Richland they do the 3 streak, but you can do 4-way streak. So this is first quadrant, this is second quadrant, this is third quadrant. Okay, so first, second, third quadrant is where your colonies should separate. Okay, so you draw a T on the back of the petri dish, and then this is our mixed culture right here near the flame aseptically. So my loop is red hot, that means it's sterilized. This is the mixed culture of Serratia marcescens and E. coli. I am going to take what? Cool it off a little bit, then run the tube over the flame. It shouldn't sizzle. Now I got enough inoculum. I'm gonna forget about this now. So this is the first quadrant. In the first quadrant, I'm going to spread my inoculum like this, going zigzag, back to back, from wall to wall. Okay, very close spacing between these lines. These are called directional streaks or just lines. So taking care that I should not go to the third or the second quadrant. Okay, that is your goal while you are drawing this. When you are in first quadrant, you will stay only in first quadrant. You will not go to the second quadrant or the third quadrant. Same way, when you are in second quadrant, your goal is to stay within your quadrant. You are not gonna go back to first quadrant, neither you're gonna go to the third quadrant. Make sense? Same thing for the third quadrant. So in your first quadrant, you have the most concentrated bacteria. Now your goal is to dilute it. So when you plate it here in the first quadrant, you're gonna tilt your petri dish. This is your second quadrant, right? So in your second quadrant, you will take some growth from the first quadrant. You're not going to take anything from the culture anymore, right? You're going to take only one time. You will pick up this inoculum from here, okay? One time only, and don't go back to the first quadrant. And this is what you are spreading from here to here. See that directional lines? Again, make sure you are not going into the third quadrant or first quadrant accidentally. Make sense?
So you collect from the first quadrant, but then don't touch it again?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. You are basically diluting whatever you had in the first quadrant. Okay? So now, and in between each movement from quadrant, you are going to sterilize your loop. Every time you go to the different quadrant, you are going to sterilize it. That's the goal. Okay, ultimate sterilization. So now that I'm here, I'm gonna go into my third quadrant. Again, I will pick the inoculum from my second quadrant only once. I got it, and here, very loosely, I will squiggle. So this third quadrant is where my colonies will be isolating. We will be saying, we'll be seeing after incubation, we will see circular colonies of both bacteria. Since Serratia is orange in color and E. coli is tan in color, so Serratia's colony will isolate as orange colored colonies, dots of orange colored colonies will appear, and white colonies of the E. coli, white or tan depending on. So that way you will know that you were able to separate the two bacteria that are mixed in this. Make sense?
So each quadrant, your lines get more spread out, right? So your first
Yes,
one's real low, so
yes,
then-
because you are basically, the goal is you are diluting it. This first quadrant has the highest concentration, and from there your dilution starts. Okay, the dilution gets to that level where you can see isolated individual colonies. Okay, so that is the goal. This was 3 plate method.